Hey guys, I'm back with another alkaline cooking video. Today we're going to make focaccia bread. Many of you seen me posted on our Facebook page earlier, and I asked you if you wanted me to make it, so that's what we're going to do. So we're going to do two versions. We're going to do a spelt and quinoa, and we're going to do a garbanzo bean and quinoa. If you don't have quinoa, just leave out the quinoa. Well, what it is a quinoa flour mixed with a spelt flour. Same here, this is a garbanzo bean flour mixed with a quinoa flour. Like I said, if you don't have the quinoa, just use garbanzo bean flour. And if you don't have it here, just use spelt flour. You can also do spelt and teff, or you can do garbanzo bean and teff, however you want to do it. But this is what I'm going to do today. So we got a half a cup of spelt flour and a half a cup of quinoa flour in here. To this, we're going to add a mixture of seasonings. We have a half a teaspoon of sea salt, a half a tablespoon of onion powder, 1/8 of a teaspoon of ginger, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of cayenne. And we're going to add that to this. A half a tablespoon of basil, half a tablespoon of thyme, add about a tablespoon of sesame seeds in there. Also going to add, make sure you have some, this is 2 very small onions, finely chopped, really thin. And we're going to add some of those to this. That's going to go in the mixture. We're also going to add some grapeseed oil. And add 1 teaspoon. And we're going to add a teaspoon of agave. For those of you that don't know, focaccia bread is a traditional Italian bread. Many use it as a side dish. You can put all kinds of toppings on it. You can use it as a bread for sandwiches. Now we're going to add perry water to this. And I'm not going to tell you how much because you're going to do it by eye. You're going to add it until this forms into a dough. Add some and stir. If you add too much, you just add more flour. Not a big deal. This is a little bit sticky, so we're going to be adding some flour to that. But before we add more flour, we're going to be adding a little bit of oil. This is just, we're going to be using a lot of oil, so be prepared. Mix this in. Now we're going to add a little bit of flour. It should be a nice, soft, sticky dough, but not too sticky. Okay. Now at this time, we're going to add a little bit more oil. Drizzle it over. Another teaspoon. Keep kneading. A little bit more flour. This is nice right here. This is real nice. This is real nice. Okay. So now we're going to let these sit. Put them over here in a warm spot. Let them sit. Make sure your oven is preheated to 350. Turn that on now. Alright, so for the next one, we're going to add the same seasoning. Half a tablespoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of sea salt, 1/8 teaspoon of ginger, and 1/8 teaspoon of cayenne. We're going to add a half a tablespoon of basil and a half a tablespoon of thyme. We're going to add our sesame seeds. That's about a tablespoon. We're going to add 1 teaspoon of grapeseed oil, 1 teaspoon of agave, some of these finely chopped onions, and then we're going to add our perry water. This we're going to form into kind of like a dough, but more of like a drop biscuit dough. I'll show you here in a minute. Now again, if you add too much, don't stress it. See that? That's like a drop biscuit batter dough. So that's that. So that one is good. We're going to let that sit. Now this one you let sit uncovered, and then the ones you let sit covered, okay? We're going to let these sit for 20 minutes. So the dough has been sitting for about 20 minutes. Alright, so this one we didn't add so much oil to like that one because we're not kneading this one. But we're going to still add more oil. You'll see when we do it. So we got 2 small little 5-inch skillets. That's what we're going to use to do this. I'm going to put some more oil on the bottom of each one. Rub it in, get it all over your pan. Now we're going to add part of this dough. I'm not sure if I'm going to add the whole, you know what, I think I'm going to add the whole thing. I wasn't quite sure, but we're going to add it all. Alright, so take one of your doughs, you're going to spread it out until it fits the pan. Add some more oil on top. Yes, more oil. This is not to spread it, this is part of how it's done. Lots of oil. Like I said before, traditionally it would be olive oil. Alright, so now we're going to do the traditional dimple holes that you see in the focaccia bread. So you just take your fingers and push it all the way to the bottom. All over. This will help the heat evenly distribute so it cooks evenly. And you'll get the correct texture that we're looking for in the focaccia bread. So get all those little holes in there. There we go. And it should look something, it just look kind of silly, just like that. Alright? This one's going to be a little tougher because this is a batter. So get your batter poured in here. Alright, so put some oil on the top of this one. Spread it around till it fits the pan. Now I don't know if this will work in a traditional pie plate or whatever. I've never tried it. Alright, put your holes in the best you can. Add some oil to your fingers if you have to. It's not going to work as easy as the other one. Drizzle a little bit more oil on there. Now we're going to top these with a couple things. Okay, we're going to, with the rest of the onions, an aroma tomato, very thinly sliced. I'll show you that in a minute. And we're also going to make a mixture, like a garlicky mixture. Need just a little bit of oil, a grapeseed oil, just like that. Gonna need some onion powder in there. That's about a tablespoon, 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil. This is about a teaspoon of onion powder. About a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger. Maybe an 1/8. I'm going to stir that up with a little brush. And take that and we're going to brush it over top. Because it's wet, so just go slow. Traditionally you use coarse sea salt. We're going to be using a fine sea salt. And we're going to sprinkle it on the top. Put some in my hand. I'm going to sprinkle it on top like this. We're going to top it off with some basil. Dried basil. And then onions. Just like that. I'll put your tomatoes on there. Press them down just ever so slightly. And then top them again with whatever onions you have left over, if you have any left over. There we go. Alright, now these are going to go in the oven for 25 minutes. Oven temperature should be 350. While the focaccia bread is cooking, we're going to make a quick guacamole that I'm going to use as a filler, like I'm going to cut it into a sandwich once the bread is done and slice it down the middle, and I'm going to fill it with guacamole. You can fill your focaccia bread with anything you like, or you can eat it the way it is. This is like a quick guacamole I like to make. I won't be adding onions to it because the focaccia bread has plenty of onion. We've got 2 small Roma tomatoes, 2 avocados mashed up. To these avocados, we're going to add a half a teaspoon of sea salt, a half a teaspoon of onion powder, a half a teaspoon of coriander, 1/8 a teaspoon of ginger, and 1/8 a teaspoon of cayenne. You can add more of any one of these and to season to your liking. I'm going to stir this up really good. And I won't be adding lime today either. The coriander is going to give it plenty of kick that a lime would. To this, after you get it mixed up, we're going to add 2 small Roma tomatoes. I like it really chunky with lots of tomatoes. So you can add less if you want. Give it a little Mexican-Italian fusion going on. Alright, so the guacamole's set. Cover that and put it in your fridge until your focaccia bread is done. Okay, our focaccia bread just came out of the oven. I'm going to set them somewhere and you want to let them cool completely. This is the spelt flour one. And then this is the garbanzo bean flour one. As you see, they rose very nicely. I'll show you on the side of this one. See that? Alright, I'm going to let these cool completely and we'll be right back. Alright, now that your focaccia breads are completely cool, you can begin removing them from the pan. Just take a soft spatula, wedge them underneath, and go around. They should pop right out with no problem. I expect this one to pop out. Oh yeah, this one come right out. Take it out. We're going to take this one out. Alright. Now we're going to use ours for a sandwich bread. I like to cut it in little wedges, just like that. See that? And you take and slice your wedge down the middle. Just like that. We're going to take some of that guacamole we made, and you can make sandwiches out of anything that you like with this. Put some of that on there. Just like that. Top it off at the top. You have nice little focaccia and guacamole sandwiches. This is so good. You can eat this bread as a side, the way it is. You can top it with any of your favorite toppings, and you just bake it. It's a traditional Italian side dish. I hope you enjoyed this focaccia bread. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you thought of the video. Let us know what you thought of the recipe. Guys, see you in our next video. Bye.